Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Envy. Congratulations again on
Thank
your
you so
honor.
much.
Good morning, Charlamagne the God. Good morning, Jess Hilarious. Good morning, Lauren LaRosa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So let's get into this front page news. A federal judge is giving the Trump administration's lawyers until 12 noon today to provide more information on deportation flights under the Alien Enemies Act that was conducted this past weekend. Now, the administration could also invoke the state's secrets doctrine that allows the government to block discourse of information if it feels it would harm national security. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg wants answers on the timing of the flights that he ordered to be turned around on Saturday. The White House has pushed back and said that the judge continues to beat a dead horse over the situation. Meanwhile, President Trump once again went after the judge, even after Supreme Court Justice John Roberts said calling for the judge's impeachment was not appropriate. So the White House says the Trump administration will continue with mass deportations. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said they will comply with court orders, but claimed, the judges are undermining the will of the American public. Let's hear more from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The judges in this country are acting erroneously. We have judges who are acting as partisan activists. They are trying to dictate policy from the President of the United States. They are trying to clearly slow walk this administration's agenda, and it's unacceptable. As the President said last night, we will continue to comply with these court orders. We will continue to fight these battles in courts.
So Leavitt said this is a continuation of the lawfare that President Trump faced while he was also campaigning. What do you guys think? Any thoughts?
I'm just glad that they're complying with the court order. You know what I mean? That lets you know that it seems like democracy still got a pulse.
So they say. But we will see what happens with this judge and this situation as of noon today. So switching gears to other foreign affairs, President Trump says they are very much on track to putting an end to the Ukraine and Russia war. Trump spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for about an hour yesterday and said it was a very good call. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the call was another step forward to ending the war in Ukraine. Let's hear more from Leavitt.
The leaders agreed Ukraine and America will continue working together to bring about a real end to the war, and that lasting peace under President Trump's leadership can be achieved. The two leaders also agreed on a partial ceasefire against energy. Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea on the way to a full ceasefire.
In a Truth Social post, Trump said the call was focused on what he and Russian President Putin talked about so they could align both Ukraine and Russia in terms of what they're both asking for. Now, Putin and Trump agreed to a limited ceasefire yesterday, which includes halting attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Now, furthermore, on that deal, the U.S. is reportedly asking for Ukraine's largest power plant as part of the ceasefire deal with Russia. Ukrainian leader Zelensky says that during this call, Trump talked about one power plant which is under Russian occupation, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant station.
You had a stroke, Morgan? You okay over there?
No, I don't know. I don't speak Russian. Okay. The nuclear power plant station that is the largest in Europe. But the White House said in a statement that the U.S. is taking over the power plant, or if the U.S. would take over the power plant, that it would be the best protection and support for Ukrainian energy infrastructure. So they're less likely to attack it if the U.S. has a hand in it, essentially.
Can I ask you a question? What is a little ceasefire? Like, we're not going to shoot on Mondays and Wednesdays? Like, what is a little ceasefire?
No.
Sounds crazy.
No, kind of. So what they're saying right here is that it's going to be energy infrastructure. So the other things may be off limits. They might want to attack. I don't know. I don't want to give any ideas, but it could be water. It could be cyber. It could be something else. But energy.
I just figured they'd just have a ceasefire, like stop all the BS and let's get it together.
Yeah, that sounds like let me just put the tip in. That's what it sounds like.
It's saying I'm not gonna mess you up. I'm not gonna mess up none of your buildings. I'm not gonna mess up some of these things. But this over here, yeah.
I just want to see how much does Ukraine have to give up, for a ceasefire, whether it's a little ceasefire or a big ceasefire. Like, what does that deal look like for them?
Right.
Yeah, well, right now it's looking like their power plant that is currently under Russian occupation anyway. But I'll keep you guys posted on every update that comes our way regarding this situation. That's your front page news for 6 a.m. Stick around for 7. Thank you.
Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get back in some front page news. Good morning, Morgan.
Yes, good morning. Let's get into it. So, also in foreign affairs, Israeli ground troops are back in Gaza. This comes a day after Israel broke a 2-month ceasefire with extensive airstrikes that have killed hundreds. Israeli Defense Forces said on Wednesday that a targeted ground operation was focusing on the central and southern Gaza Strip. A Gaza health ministry says the airstrikes have killed at least 400 people. Now, former State Department advisor Aaron David Miller says this is not good news for the ceasefire agreement that went into effect almost 2 months ago. Let's hear more from Aaron David Miller on Gaza.
The most likely scenario in fits and starts will be Israel's resumption of the war against Hamas in Gaza. The Israelis, I think, on one hand, you could argue they're pressuring Hamas. On the other, I think this is a prelude to the inevitable reality that there's not going to be a phase 2 negotiation.
So Hamas issued a statement saying Israel's ground incursion constitutes a dangerous violation of the signed ceasefire agreement. Israel's military says it's conducting extensive strikes against Hamas targets in Gaza. So to Aaron David Miller's point on phase 2 negotiation, saying that there probably will not be a phase 2 negotiation. Well, that leaves the question as to, well, what happens if the only other option is war? So I will keep you posted as to what happens and what takes place in regards to those tensions over in the Middle East. Elsewhere, a Republican senator says her fellow GOP colleagues are worried to speak out against the Trump administration and Elon Musk because they're scared or fear they'll be, quote, taken down. Alaska lawmaker Lisa Murkowski told reporters that Republican senators specifically, are afraid of the attacks she and others who have spoken in opposition to Trump have faced. She said that's why you've got everybody just zip-lipped, not saying a word because they're afraid they're going to be taken down. They're going to be primaried. They're going to be given names in the media. What do you guys think about that?
I wonder if the Republican senators realize they have the power. You know, yes, Elon is the richest man in the world, but he's not an elected official. So there still is this thing called the Constitution in Congress that, you know, Elon and Trump still have to abide by and go through. So, you know, you keep Elon honest by keeping President Trump honest. The senators have to speak out. That's their duty. I don't care if you're a Republican senator, Democrat senator, you are there to keep the president, you know, on the straight and narrow. So if you keep the president on the straight and narrow, everybody around him got to stay on the straight and narrow too. So just abide by the laws that are in place. There are laws that are in place for you to do that.
Yeah, period. All right, switching gears again. The Federal Reserve is holding interest rates steady despite some signs that the economy could be slowing. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said the Fed is focusing on achieving maximum employment and stable prices. The decision is in line with market expectations and it's the second time the Fed has paused rate cuts since January. Let's hear more from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell on his review of the economic outlook.
The economy is strong overall and has made significant progress toward our goals over the past 2 years. Labor market conditions are solid, and inflation has moved closer to our 2% longer-run goal. Recent indications, however, point to a moderation in consumer spending following the rapid growth seen over the second half of 2024. Surveys of households and businesses point to heightened uncertainty about the economic outlook.
Yeah, so this after the central bank cut rates 3 times at the end of 2024 due to the weakening employment data and cooling prices. What are you guys seeing? Gas prices, grocery prices, where are you, how are you faring right now with all of that?
I'm going to tell you something. I'm just thinking just now, I bet every now and then Trump looks at the name Jerome Powell and wants him fired simply because the name sounds black. That name sounds. It sounds like DEI, Jerome Powell. Don't it sound like? don't it sound black? Jerome Powell. Yeah.
But I would say groceries are definitely high. Groceries are high, and they say in L.A. particularly that gas prices are through the roof.
Oh yeah, well I will say that in the DMV right now, gas prices are fairly down from the $4, I'm seeing $2 and $3, which is a lot nicer. So again, I will continue to keep you guys posted on that. But I am curious to see the differences in the country and in different geographical locations.
You noticed that, Jess? You noticed groceries being high?
No. Well, I've noticed that some things are higher than definitely gas.
Yeah,
because I pay
gas is
higher.
higher.
Yeah, but see, I travel. So like in Atlanta last week, you know what I mean? Of course, I had my rental or whatever, and yeah, I noticed gas prices are higher. But groceries, I know they're higher, but I really, really need them, so I don't really. I just get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I haven't said damn. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's just like like when you say are they higher now? It's just like I feel like I've been saying damn for the last decade. But I also got 4 kids, so
food period is higher. I mean, like
Exactly.
DoorDash, like Uber Eats, like all of that stuff.
Exactly.
I just ordered just one thing for me from Chick-fil-A last week, and that's like almost $50.
See what I'm saying? And think about
Almost
that. That's what I said. It's 6 of us in the house. So you order something from Uber Eats, you like, God damn, how much stuff costs?
I noticed that more than the groceries for sure.
Right. All right. So in some health-related news, 4 measles cases have officially been reported in New York. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is launching a web portal supporting access to vaccines and accurate public health information. Hochul says there are 3 unrelated measles cases in New York City and 1 in Suffolk County. While that doesn't qualify as an outbreak, the one right across New York's border does. The governor says there are 350 measles cases reported in Ontario since last fall. Hochul is urging New York residents to get vaccinated. Let's hear more from New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
According to the CDC, 2 doses of the MMR vaccine have a 97% effective rate. There are 350 cases reported since last fall in Ontario, literally right across the border from our state. Cod liver oil will not protect you from measles. It's baseless, it's irresponsible, and puts lives at risk. We're alert, we're vigilant, we're watching, but also we have the power to stop any outbreak. It rests in our hands.
So she mentioned cod liver oil because apparently Health Secretary RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr., called out, she's basically calling him out, saying that he's spreading misinformation about cod liver oil being able to protect against measles, and says that his claims are, as she's mentioned in the audio, baseless, irresponsible, and puts lives at risk. But, Health Secretary RFK Jr. has been vocal about certain vaccines. I won't say all vaccines, but certain vaccines not necessarily being the way to go. I know vaccinations have been a very sensitive topic amongst the Black community, with mistrust in the healthcare system. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, we're basically on measles watch right now. It does seem like the cases are growing, whether they're in Texas, whether they're in Ontario, and now in New York. There's also a case or 2 in Maryland. How are you guys feeling?
I mean, I'm still not a big fan of vaccines. I'm just not a big fan of them anyway.
I feel like anything else. I mean, sadly, I know that it's out there, but I probably won't care until it's at my front door. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's just
that's
the
real.
reality of it.
Real.
We hear so many things in the news all of the time, and
Stuff going around.
Yeah.
Stuff is this stuff gonna be dropping all the time. Like new albums. There's always a new virus, a new something.
A new something. It's a new something that's gonna stress us out if we allow it to. It's a new something that's gonna have us, our anxiety up if we allow it to. So it's just like, I know.
But you got to watch it, though.
I'm hearing it,
Because it's on the news, especially when you got kids.
Absolutely.
Like, my parents are all on top of it. I could have sworn that the kids had to have measles shots or whatever it was to get to school. I have no idea.
That's what I thought, too.
They got to be vaccinated. But, yeah, it's definitely something I watch because, like you said, your kids are out and about. They're going to school. They're playing with their friends. And it's easy for one person to get it. So, yeah, I'm on high alert about it.
All right. So that's your front page news. You guys can follow me on social at Morgan Media. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Thank you guys so much.
All right, Morgan.
Thank you, Morgan.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.